I want to talk to you about Baskin Robbins franchise, and the good thing is that Baskin Robbins is actually a brand that a lot of folks love. Nearly everybody loves Baskin Robbins because of the food, because of the ambience, because of the whole atmosphere, because of the business model. But I really want to really go more granular, explain to you what the franchise is really all about and how you can actually open a franchise today. So here's a presentation I want you to really think about. So Baskin Robbins operates a global network of franchised ice cream restaurants. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I mean, known for having 31 to 35 flavor options at each location. The chain also offers ice cream cakes for various occasions. Okay, and so the famous 31 to 35 flavors slogan came from the idea of being able to have a different flavor on every day of the month. Although these days they have over 1,000 flavors in their icebox. So that's really important to really think about the fact that Baskin Robbins is really built on a solid foundation, especially when it comes to the cultural lore that surrounds the brand. Okay, and this is important. The thing is, if you are thinking about opening a Baskin Robbins franchise today, just know that this is a global network. It's not just in the states. They have nearly 8,000 locations, in the world. So that's really great. And so one thing for sure, you have to really understand that this franchise, this business, started in the 30s by a man called Irv Robbins. He managed an ice cream shop in Tacoma, Washington State, and this gives the whole business model, the whole ice cream shop thing, gave him the inspiration to start a shop of his own. And Robbins partnered with his brother-in-law, Bert Baskin, and the business name Baskin Robbins was really born. Okay, so this was a family thing at the very beginning. And so the first Baskin Robbins opened in Glendale, California in 1945 as a standalone ice cream parlor. So that's really good I mean, 1945 until today, you are looking at more than 70 years of business model of being effective and making a lot of folks happy, including myself. Okay. Now, by the 60s, there were more than 400 shops in the US, and the company went overseas in the 70s. Now, there are more than, like I said, nearly 8,000 worldwide locations and over 1,000 flavors in their library. So, this is really fantastic. If you are thinking about opening a Baskin Robbins franchise today, let me give you a few more details here. So, when you think about Baskin Robbins, I want you to think about you need to have a required investor net worth of $200,000. That's net worth. In other words, your assets, your total assets minus your total liabilities. Minimum $200,000. Required investor liquid cash $100,000. So we are speaking about disposable asset, disposable cash. Okay, liquid cash, and the minimum investments 280,000 all the way to $350,000, and the maximum investment you can really contemplate when you think about Baskin Robbins franchise, 650,000 or sometimes 750. So you're looking at nearly $1 million. Okay, this is something to really think about. Now, when you think about Baskin Robbins, you have a franchise fee that goes from 12,000 all the way to 25,000. You have a royalty fee of 5.9 to 7.5%. They do offer financing, so this is kind of cool. And you have the ability to actually work with Baskin Robbins Corporate to really arrange the financing. Okay, so not a problem if for any reason you are thinking that, hey, listen, I want to have the money. As long as you have the willpower, and you have the expertise, and you have some kind of determination, you should be fine. Okay. Now you have two main options for Baskin Robbins franchises. You can either buy an existing shop or open a new location. Now each approach has its own set of costs and fees. So if you are interested, let's say, in buying an existing location, your process will be a little bit different than opening a new location. There are some similarities, that's for sure, such as the royalty fee, marketing and advertising fees, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, you will submit a completely separate application. You need to meet a unique set of requirements, and your Baskin Robbins franchise costs will vary if you have to open a brand new location. But hey, listen, it might be worth it if you are in a new area where you have less competition. So overall, there are benefits and drawbacks to both developing a new shop and purchasing an existing one. So it will be up to you to decide which, if either of these options, is actually right for you, especially depending on the geography that you are targeting. Okay. But with all this in mind, Baskin Robbins also offers what they call non-traditional shops, which are smaller. They're neither big shops nor very small shops. They're like decent sized shops in spaces such as airports, mass transit stations, stadiums, colleges, and more. Okay, and these opportunities actually have different terms and agreements. So if you're interested, you want to reach out to Dunkin' Brains specifically to find out the details. Let me talk to you about the evaluation here. So if you're thinking about opening a Baskin Robbins franchise today, let me give you a little bit of background. In other words, I want to really go through the pros and cons of a Baskin Robbins franchise. Okay. Now, as with any franchise, there are advantages and disadvantages to selecting Baskin Robbins as your franchise of choice. Okay. So let me give you gotta have a clear idea about both sides of the coin. The pros first. Let's talk about the positives, the pluses. You have name recognition, you have development incentives, and you have marketing support. So when you think about name recognition, Baskin Robbins has a strong name recognition. Let's say both across the U.S. and the world. I mean, everybody loves ice cream. Okay, customers will know what to expect from the products before they even walk through the door, which can be great for a franchise looking to capture customers. You also have development incentives. So Baskin Robbins does offer some development incentives, including ones for military veterans and new store owners that could help reduce the cost of getting a franchise off the ground. You also have marketing support, although the fee is high for marketing and advertising. This is partly because some franchisees see that the corporate support for getting the word out there is a strong pro to opening a Baskin Robbins franchise, right? It's a really big incentive to doing that. So what about the cons here? You have the royalty fees and also the rivals. So royalty fees for opening a Baskin Robbins franchise are not cheap at all. The advertising and marketing ongoing fee is high compared to other franchises as well. So you got to really be aware of that. There is a little bit of a significant cash outflow to contemplate, at least at the beginning. What about rivals? Well, there are several rivals in this space, including Carvel, Cold Stone, Creamery, Dairy Queen, and more, as well as other local, independently owned businesses. As you are deciding whether or not to actually open a Baskin Robbins franchise, you want to really see how close your rivals will be in any location you are actually scouting. Let me talk to you about money talks here. I want to really go a little bit into the monetary aspect of opening a Baskin Robbins franchise this year. Now, how much does it cost to open a Baskin Robbins franchise? So, as I said a little earlier, you have the initial investment if you are in a new location. Okay, upfront cost for a new location, initial investments $100,000 to $400,000. So the investments will vary depending on where you open, as well as some additional site details. So yeah, $100,000 to $400,000. You are looking at everything that you need to open, anything you need at the opening, from uniforms to fixtures and equipment. The franchising fee, $25,000 on average. Net worth, as I said a little earlier, $200,000. And cash liquidity, in other words, liquid cash, you're looking at $100,000. You need access to liquid cash of $100,000. Okay. It's also important to know that for business owners who choose to develop a new Baskin Robbins location, there is actually a development financial incentive. So Baskin Robbins offers a 50% of the 20-year initial franchise fee plus a 10-year payment plan, bringing the franchise fee down to $12,500. Okay. In addition, the company offers reduced royalty rates for the first 5 years. So instead of the standard 5.9% of sales, you will have reduced rates that look like this. I'm going to put this on the screen so it can be really clear to you what to expect. So year one, you have a 0%. Year two, you have 1.9%. Year three, 2.9%. Year four, 3.9%. And year five, 4.9%. So besides the upfront cost for a new location, you also have upfront cost for buying an existing location. So that's the alternative. Okay. So down payments, you'll need a minimum down payment of 10% of the full purchase price of the existing location. In terms of cash liquidity, you will need to have 30% of the total selling price plus the cost of remodels available in liquid assets. You also have ongoing fees, royalty fee. I already said that 5.9% of gross sales. Advertising and marketing fee 5% of gross sales. So that's 10.9% already. And you also have an online access fee of $300 every year. And you also have late fees. So Baskin Robbins may assess additional late fees if you are unable to pay your fees on time. Late fees will vary depending on the delinquent payment and the time for which it's really overdue. So, but you do not want to have like late fees anyway. So let me talk to you about the application process here. If you are interested in opening a Baskin Robbins franchise, what's the application process? First, you want to review the requirements and submit your application. So in addition to the financial criteria that I mentioned a little earlier, you want to you should have an understanding of brand building and local marketing. You got to have a demonstrated ability to build a successful team focused on customer service, right? Really important. You also need to have the desire and resources for developing, purchasing one or more locations. I mean, Baskin Robbins wants you to have more than one franchise, okay? They don't want you really to be stuck at one. They want you to have maximum, ideally, they want you to have a 5 to 15 locations. And that's important. So if you think you meet the requirements, you can submit your Baskin Robbins franchise application online. And after you have submitted your application, you can expect that the candidate approval process will take anywhere from 2 to 3 months. Then it will take 6 to 9 months after you have signed your store development agreement to actually open your store, right? So this timeline may be faster if you choose to buy an existing location because the construction has already been completed, right? So the whole thing is, all in all, I want you to really expect 1 year. 1 year from the time you apply to the time you start your business, really. So after reviewing the requirements and submitting your application, you want to complete your franchise training. So Baskin Robbins Corporate requires franchise owners to attend a 3-week training session at the Dunkin' Brands headquarters in Braintree, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. Your training will include technical training on site at store locations, learning their online systems, and skill building. And every individual that attends the training will need to pay a $1,500 fee. There are 40 to 50 hours of on-site training required, and also an additional 80 to 100 classroom hours required. So I just want you to book that in your agenda this year. And the third thing is you need to get your store set up so you're able to pursue your own real estate arrangement to find the right location and build your store. However, you have the option to sublease from Baskin Robbins. This will require a security deposit refundable at the end of the sublease term, as well as a $100 administrative fee for all subleases. In general, as you're calculating real estate, expect to spend anywhere from $15,000 to $200,000, much of which depends on the location of your store, the footprint, and more, right? If you're planning to buy land, you will incur a separate cost. And also, it's all about the geography, right? As when it comes to real estate, it's really about the geography. If you are in New York versus somewhere in a rural area of Louisiana, it's not the same cost. That said, even if you decide to fund your own real estate arrangements, Baskin Robbins real estate and construction experts are available to help you identify and fund your shop space, as well as ensure that you meet their trade area and site criteria guidelines. So as part of the application process for a Baskin Robbins franchise, you need to find financing. If you don't have the cash yourself, you need to really find financing. So if you need financing to open up a Baskin Robbins franchise, you're not alone. A good number of those looking to open up any type of franchise pursue financing to help them, let's say, get up and running, especially when initial investments costs are kind of high, right? So Baskin Robbins doesn't have a financing option for franchisees. However, They do have some third-party relationships with financing companies that can help you with startup cost, including the franchise fee, equipment and inventory, accounts receivable, payroll, and construction and real estate loans. Okay. And Baskin Robbins states that there are quick turnarounds with their third party financing partners and a variety of flexible financing options. So that's really important. So if you're interested, it's better to contact Baskin Robbins. They also have a veteran financial incentive. So basically, if you are in that category, you might have some facility there as well. And finally, you want to open your store. So it's one of those things where you went through the whole process. You really attended the training. You did everything that Baskin Robbins asked you. You got in touch with. You got in touch. You familiarize yourself with their online system, everything. Okay, and now it's actually up to you to open your store. So after you have accessed financing, chosen a location, and completed construction, you will be on the right track to opening your Baskin Robbins franchise. And but again, I think I've said this before, but I want to reiterate the fact that it typically takes 6 to 9 months and sometimes 1 year from the time you sign your store development agreement to the time you open your doors for business. Okay. But during that time, you'll be doing a lot of work in the background. You'll be doing a lot of work in terms of local marketing. You'll be doing a lot of work in terms of creating buzz around your upcoming Baskin Robbins shop, because you got to let people know. Because I mean, people love ice cream, but if nobody knows about your Baskin Robbins, they're not going to actually buy at your shop, right? You also need to make sure that you are consolidating, you are cultivating relationships with other local businesses. Okay, for instance, in terms of sponsoring or branding, really. So if you're looking to open a new Baskin Robbins franchise, here are the extras I want you to really think about. Now, when it comes to Baskin Robbins franchise formats, they have all kinds of formats, but I want to really go back to that because new Baskin Robbins franchisees can choose from a traditional, in other words, standard format, or a non-traditional location format for their Baskin Robbins franchise. So traditional location, most franchisees will develop a standard Baskin Robbins location. This can be a freestanding, end cap, or inline configurations. So a typical traditional Baskin Robbins franchise location is 800 to 1,500 square feet with approximately 20 feet of frontage. That's for a traditional location. You also have non-traditional location. So for prospective Baskin Robbins franchisees who already own or control a unique venue and have experience operating a business, adding a Baskin Robbins within their existing establishment or even real estate could be an appealing option to further monetize their location's foot traffic. So let me give you examples of non-traditional locations. You have airport, you have casinos, you have colleges and universities, you have grocery stores, you have mass transit terminals, and you have stadiums. So the common theme is that all these locations attract significant foot traffic from Baskin Robbins' target customer demographic. Okay, and in terms of the franchise territory policies, franchisees are granted the right to operate one restaurant at a specific location that's actually specified in the franchise agreement. So everything will be in the franchise agreement at signing. So as a franchisee, you do not receive any additional rights with any minimum territory or other protected rights. In terms of franchise resources that Baskin Robbins Corporate offers, you have marketing support, you have flexible store designs, you have comprehensive training. I have spoken about the training before. You have third-party financing, and you have site selection and construction. Okay, so Baskin Robbins, in terms of site selection and construction, Baskin Robbins offers its franchisees site selection support to identify the right store location in terms of traffic and competition. They can also help you with lease negotiation, store designs, and also a build out. So that's kind of cool. If you pass the qualification test, next do your own market research. Okay, you want to really understand that you want to make sure that you assess the competition in your selected operating area before Baskin Robbins experts actually get into play. I mean, they'll let you know their feedback, but You got to have a clear idea yourself before you start anything. In closing, in today's conversation, I spoke to you about Baskin Robbins franchise. And I give you the presentation, the details, the evaluation, the money talks, the application process, the extras, and now the closing arguments. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.